you're not very good at, you have to have the conversation. You're not very good at your job, but we are so grateful and believe that you align with the company that we want to invest in you. Do you want to invest in you? Because if you want to invest in you and we want to invest in you, let's create a plan.
Welcome to the Profit Answer Man podcast, where business owners learn to scale their profits and cash flow and work less doing it. You built your business to fulfill your dreams and serve your mission. You're the backbone of America, creating the jobs and opportunities that keep our economy moving. And for that, you deserve to be well rewarded. We're Profit First certified. It's the first baby step in a journey we take our clients on, building cash-rich, margin-strong businesses that don't suck the life out of you. Check out the first 13 episodes of the podcast. It's Mike Michalowicz and my review of each chapter of the Profit First book. Around here, we speak cash flow, profit, and practical execution. No accounting jargon, no fluff. Most accountants, they might help you save on taxes, but they'll crush your cash flow and make you look unprofitable. That's not just a poor decision, it's a liability. We help you focus on what you love. And when we partner together, we become a profit center for your business. If we don't deliver a massive ROI on your investment in us, fire us. Want to see how it all works? Watch the video version on YouTube or head over to ProfitComesFirst.com to grab your free copy of the Profit Blueprint book and start making profit a habit. You built this business to serve your mission and your freedom. Let's make sure it pays you back big. I got to hear Pam Meissner talk at the EOS conference earlier this year, and I knew that I wanted you to hear it as well. She is a rare unicorn who's mastered both the numbers and the people side of the business, from helping companies scale to billion-dollar valuations and turning culture problems into profit gains. Pam knows where the hidden levers are that make or break your bottom line. She's a global traveler, a former CEO, COO, and CFO who's seen it all. And she's here to reveal why most profitability problems aren't on your P&L. I keep telling you, it's not a line item. They're in your people. If you've ever wondered how to get the right people in the right seats and the wrong ones out, this conversation is the one that could be a game changer for you. Let's meet Pam and find out how. Welcome to the Profit Answer Man, Pam Meissner. It's great to have you join us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Can you share a little bit about yourself and your company?
Absolutely. So I'm the COO and one of the CFOs at CathCap. We are a fractional CFO company. We work with entrepreneurs between 2 and 50 million who have kind of reached a ceiling, know they need help, and they come knocking on our door. We plug in a little differently, which I can explain more later in the conversation. But as for me, I am a citizen of the world. I've traveled a lot, live in the Midwest now, but have lived in Poland and Russia and Japan for a minute, on Cyprus. But now I'm back in the Midwest because it's a great place to raise kids.
You know, that's the reason we live where we live, is because it was a great place to raise kids. And we go into business to make money, to raise our family. You got to make sure it's all kind of aligned. Mm-hmm. I do not find too many people who are on the operations side and on the finance side.
Oh, interesting.
Well, I think most of the finance people are finance people, mm-hmm. and not as many of them can get their hands dirty on the operational side.
Fair enough. I guess in my last role, I was the president of a $100 million business. So I had all the responsibilities, and it was a manufacturing company. So I feel very comfortable there.
You are, but
bit of a unicorn, but yeah.
Because most of the finance people are like, just cut costs. And the operational people are like, well, that doesn't always make sense. There's an appropriate way to do that, right?
And I think, that's a nice segue into the entrepreneurs that we serve, is that so often it's more about investing or underutilizing resources rather than cutting costs. When we go into firms, we like to look at what is the capacity that you have and why isn't it up to that level? And it's often an operations issue. It's an accountability issue. It could be a sales issue. And usually it's not just one, but almost every time it's an HR issue.
I was going to say it's all a people issue, isn't it?
It is. It is. I as a finance person, I'm like, just think how profitable we would be if we didn't have payroll.
I could see that. And most business owners will say, yeah, it's the people that drive them crazy. But yes, payroll is a big chunk of it. And it kind of is an issue that does need to be dealt with along with the people. And we'll see how that shifts in the new world order of AI and robots and everything else that's kind of coming to be, because even your local McDonald's, everyone is looking to how to replace people too. But that comes with a cost, and you've got to do it appropriately too. And you got to figure out what works for your particular business model.
Yes. And we all, yeah.
Yeah. Before we do that, let's just touch base. I know you've got clients who use Profit First. How does it work out for most of them? And how's it working for you?
We love the concept of Profit First. Absolutely. When we come into firms, usually they are not taking care of the owners, and we advocate and benchmark them to say, this is what you should be taking home. And then we show them where things are consuming it. And then I think Profit First helps them know what they're taking risk and they should be rewarded for. And it's a mechanism that helps them. So lots of clients like that. Clients have taken it from one extreme to another. I have a client who writes checks every day, from the operating account into all of the different buckets. I have clients that kind of look at it on a quarterly or an annual basis. And I think it's understanding, and this is with most things, right? Great concept. What does it look like for me? How does it work for me?
We never, ever recommend people do this every day. That's a no-no, because it's overwhelming. But you know what? If you're that one quirky person, have at it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, though, it works for this guy. It really does, because it puts pressure between collecting money and that team and earning money, because we have things to pay for. And it's a great thing that just says, this is the way it is. And I've got to make payroll on Friday and my payroll account doesn't have enough in it. And this is what I need from you, operations.
You know what? If it works, God bless them.
I couldn't administer it, but they do a good job. They do a good job.
No, that's fine. And I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong with systems. They try to merge their company to the system. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no. The system needs to kind of envelope around you, and it needs to adapt to you. You shouldn't be necessarily adapting to it. It's got to work for your company in a way that is good.
And we often see people not addressing the real issue, but saying the system's going to fix it.
Oh, well, we see that with Profit First all the time. Mm-hmm. They say to us, Profit First doesn't work. And we're like, no. Profit First told you you're spending too much money. The system worked. Yeah. You didn't take you didn't get the answer from that.
Right.
Out of curiosity, what kind of struggles do you see with your clients and what they're facing from the financial/operational side?
Well, this gets back to how we met, right? And I was giving that talk at the EOS conference on Right People, Right Seats, Right Profits. And I see them struggling with people issues. We all go to school and we all have, particularly entrepreneurs, and we have that superpower. And very rarely is it finance. And even less often is it HR or people management. And when they don't go out and educate themselves or they abdicate it, I see it coming through the numbers. And that's what we see everywhere in the numbers. There's a people issue far more often than there's a process issue.
And I see it in the numbers, but it doesn't show up as a line item necessarily on the P&L. It shows up.
No, Rocky, it's right after ego, right?
Oh,
Yeah, the ego line item, right? Because that has a cost to the business. And the next one is people. You're correct. It's not obvious, but it is there. And the more you talk about it, the more it identifies itself. And, when we were in Washington, D.C., I talked through, how you organize and categorize your people. And I really truly believe that getting the right people in the right seats starts when you hire them. And that oftentimes people outgrow or the business outgrows people and we don't deal with it because we're so loyal. We're so grateful for them getting us from here to there, but they're not the right person to get us from here to the next goal.
What got you here won't get you there.
That is correct. Great book.
Yeah. And not everyone is going to grow with you. And so it's not that they have to leave the company. They just have to leave that seat, right? Depending.
Provided
we'll talk about those
they still align with core values.
Yes. So let's talk, because what I love there were the 4 quadrants that you talked about. So let's talk about, assume a graph. Everyone knows it starts in the bottom left and goes up to the top right. Uh-huh. And there are these 4 quadrants that are there.
So along the horizontal axis, you have competency. And along the vertical axis, you have their alignment with core values. And obviously that up and to the right person is high alignment with core values, and they're great at their job, right? They're a star. Okay. What is the opposite?
Before we go there, this assumes you have core values and you know what they are.
Mm-hmm. And that you hire by them. Fire, promote, reward, and counsel based upon them.
Is everyone usually clear on their core values?
I think the majority of companies probably have mission, vision, values. I think more times than not, they don't actively use it. And it's something, I'll ask people, no, I'm just curious what your core values are. And
do they have to go like this? Oh, there it is on the wall.
Right? And oftentimes it's not even there. And they're like, we have them. I could get them to you. And that's just the sign that there's not awareness around those.
Okay. So assume we have core values and assume we've defined what competence is for the position. Mm-hmm. Now we've got the top.
Okay. Up and to the right. Those are our stars. The opposite. So these are the people that don't align with our core values and they're not good at their jobs. Stars backwards, it's rats, and the rats have got to go. And while the rats are going, and you cannot debate with me about why they need to stay. They are just awful.
Do people debate that with you?
Yes.
Is it usually because I know this happens a lot. It's my wife's brother.
Yes. And it also could be over promotion. It could be, Pam, it's so hard to fill that position. I'm probably better off with somebody who contributes 40%. And do you know how long it takes to hire? And do you know, blah, 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 blah. And so better the devil I know than the devil I don't. Honestly, you'll find that everybody in the company will rise up to fill that void when you get rid of the rat, because it just brings everybody else down. I want to go back to the stars, though.
Okay.
If anybody takes anything away today, I think they need to take away that they need to show some love to these stars. Oftentimes stars are taken for granted because they check all the boxes and they don't make a lot of noise. And what happens is the other boxes can drive them off. So we've got stars, we've got rats. It's the other two quadrants that really challenge leaders. So let's go with the people that align with your core values, okay? They're great to have around. Everybody really enjoys them, but they're not good at their job. They might be young, they might be inexperienced. You can fill in blank. We call those puppies, right? I mean, they're just so cute, right? I mean, they're pleasant. And we can have a puppy or two, but they diddle around. And so if you have a whole litter of puppies, that's a problem.
You're probably going to have messes all over the place.
Right. And who's cleaning up those messes? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be your stars. Okay? You need to identify those and you need to invest in them. You need to have a plan for the puppies, because what do we do when we get a new puppy? We go to puppy school, right? So it's probably a reflection of us as leaders not doing our job. Okay? And you have to set a time frame in the plan. And you have to say, okay, you're not very good at, you have to have the conversation. You're not very good at your job, but we are so grateful and believe that you align with the company that we want to invest in you. Do you want to invest in you? Because if you want to invest in you and we want to invest in you, let's create a plan. And puppies are going to cost you money, okay? Not nearly as much as the last category we're going to talk about, or the rats, but you're going to have to invest time. They're going to make mistakes. If you're in manufacturing, it's going to have rework, right? But it's worth the investment, because finding somebody who aligns with your core values is priceless.
So how do you decide when your puppy is no longer trainable?
You put a time frame on that plan. You define what success looks like. I just had a team member reach a milestone today. She's 3 months in and she's flying independently. Okay. She gets direction from her supervisor. Her peer mentor doesn't need to talk to her every day. And she's doing work with very little or no errors. So you have to define, what does that success look like, so they know if they're getting it or not. But it's not something to be done to them. It's something to be done with them.
That makes a lot of sense.
And there are often times that puppies don't cross over, right? I had a sales guy said he got fired from one of his first jobs. And the guy said, look, I've kept you around for a really long time. He says, I've never seen somebody try so hard and do so poorly.
Yeah.
And it's not a job. When you're dealing with core values, it's not a job of being hungry. It's not that they're going to put in the effort. If they don't put in the effort, then they're going to fall down into that rat category really quickly. Yeah, I mean, they need to acknowledge it, and it needs to be worked on. And more times than not, they cross over.
Well, that's good to hear. Let's talk about that last category.
So since I last talked to you, we renamed it Gremlins. I think when I presented to you, I had a different name, and I'll say it in a minute. These are people who are really good at their job. They're really productive. And I'm going to tell you, a whole lot of them are in the sales division. Okay? They are bringing in that revenue. They are very, very good at their jobs. But they don't align, nor do they respect your core values. And what you do is you're afraid of them, and they hold you hostage, just like a terrorist does. And you are afraid to take action because it has a direct financial impact on your bottom line. What is hidden is all the lack of productivity, like that, all the gossiping that is inevitable around that, all the additional resources that you have to say, oh, well, you don't want to use the CRM. Let's give you an assistant, right? it's all these hidden little costs that you build up walls around them so that they don't interact. Their interactions with the company are to a minimum. And the worst part, the biggest cost of a terrorist is they drive your stars off, right? You think of kids, right? What do kids want? They want attention, right? The stars are doing everything right to get attention, but who are you giving all your attention to? This terrorist. And I'm not saying, unlike the rats, which they got to go now. If you're listening to us while you're driving, at the next stoplight, text your HR person. They just got to go. I mean, really that fast. And on the puppies, I'd say, give them 6 months or a year. It does take some strategy to deal with somebody who's holding you hostage. And every time we find out that companies do better in the end. However, there is a dip when you make that separation. And you've got to plan for it. You've got to strategize for it, because otherwise, I don't recommend ripping off the Band-Aid with the terrorists, but do put a timeline on it. And the thing I think about entrepreneurs is they think they can talk or coach or cajole people into changing their behavior. But if somebody doesn't want to change, they're not going to change. And you need to accept that. And we have this alter ego that we can help.
I know there were people who asked about what would be the right word, reforming the terrorist.
Yeah.
And I think the hands down comments are, it's not happening.
Right. You can't teach core values.
No. You have to make the decision to make the cut. And then depending on, the hole that you're going to create, figure out your bridge.
Yes. That's a great way to say it. Yes.
Yeah. But you're going to have to do it, because it's going to continue to get worse and worse and worse.
And as a leader, the team protects us, right? And so we really don't know how bad it is. If it's getting our attention, it probably is worse than we think it is.
Well, I'm sure it can't be that bad, right? That really didn't happen. Right? We're in disbelief at times. Because I will tell you, I think a lot of the terrorists are really smart about where they terrorize.
Yes. Yes.
And so to the owner, they might look perfect.
Right. There's a Radical Candor. Love this book, right? She has another 2x2. It's a great book about manipulative insincerity. I think that's what you were just describing.
They're very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I have found, I'll call them con artists. They're also they are the sweetest, nicest people.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's just how they get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to use it to their advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the struggle is how to say goodbye, because a lot of people don't want to face it. I'll do it tomorrow, or as soon as this project's done, or, we're going to go into slow season and then I'll do it. Or there's always that excuse.
Yes. And it could be the greatest gift you ever give them. Everybody wants to be in a place where they're known, liked, and trusted. And that's not possible if you don't align with the core values. They need to go find their people, because they can, to use the example, they can sell, right? But they need to find a company that values them, because then they'll be in their sweet spot. And that's the thing with core values is you can be an expert, be it an accountant, an attorney, an engineer. But until you land in the place where you can bloom, then you're going to be miserable too. And I once watched an HR person have a conversation with somebody that just said, and you can't be happy here either. And we want you to be happy. And it was the best conversation I've ever seen, because I think the person kind of got it. And as long as you're decent, right, and you provide that off ramp for them, I think it can be done in a decent way. But I mean, come on. Nobody likes to do this. If you like to do this, you shouldn't be doing it, right? And people are going to feel the way people are going to feel. But this is your business. And why would you let your business be dismantled or destroyed by somebody?
And that's very true. I think the issue up front is you have to hire to your core beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to know what they are, and then you have to take the time to make sure they match, even if their resume looks like this or that. And I think it's a step that a lot of people miss. They don't take the time to ask the questions, or they don't even know how to ask the questions. And part of it is saying, this is what we believe. This is how we do things. And just seeing if the people are even lighting up to it or responsive to it, or if they're just like, and what's the vacation? Like,
right. And I think, in this day and age of the large language models, whether it's Copilot or ChatGPT, I think you can put in there, these are my core values. I'm interviewing somebody. Can you give me 5 questions that I might ask them to elicit a response that is either a thumbs up or thumbs down?
That's the kind of comment a systems person would make when it comes to things like this. Business owners are like, yeah, I'll just figure it out when I get there 10 minutes late. I get it. But yes, you are very correct. And there's some really great books on how to interview. I think it's Top Grading is one that I really like.
Yep, there's another one here.
Who, yes. Yep. Who and Top Grading are very similar.
And my favorite part is when they describe all of us that do it kind of in our own voodoo seat of our pants stuff. And that's just, I mean, if you want to have a drink and laugh hard, you just read through, because you'll identify yourself and all your colleagues.
Well, and that's the, I mean, let's face it. A lot of people are like, oh, you like my favorite baseball team too. That's cool. You went to high school where I went to high school. That's cool. And or you go to whatever. And so you have that connection, but you don't know if they actually have your values, and you don't know if they can actually do the job. And so we're hiring friends instead of hiring people who are going to help us achieve our goals.
Yes. And one of the things we've done is we actually have a form that everybody fills out after they interview somebody to say plus, plus, minus, minus. Do they align with our core values? Do they own it? Are they a partner? Do they constantly grow? Do they find the fun? Do they live the integrated life? And we'll write commentary. I think they're in it for the last core value and none of the other ones. And that doesn't work for us because they fit together as a unit.
They do. And so that was an interesting point. You've got multiple people interviewing to get multiple points of view. Mm-hmm. And depending on your organization, it's also how are they behaving to the people as they're coming and going or not in the interview itself. Yes,
absolutely. One of the people who rates them is a future peer.
So what do you mean by future peer?
So we have like a handful of positions at CathCap, right? So we have CFOs, we have analysts, a controller, some marketing people. We will have somebody from that role talk to them, and it's dubbed as a day in the life. You can ask, your off the cuff questions to, but all the while that person is saying, will this person align by our core values? And so they relax a little more because it's not a hiring manager or a COO or somebody with those kind of titles they're trying to impress. But I say from the beginning, it's as much you choosing us as us choosing you. And so we give them that opportunity. And it's funny that they do trip up in that.
So what do we do in today's world? Because right now it seems like hiring people is tougher than it's ever been.
Yes.
So how are you dealing with that?
I'm going to say it again. I think you tell people up front who will do best at your firm. And part of that is people align with core values. If you're a person who likes to partner, if you like to constantly grow, if you're always trying to learn something new, if you can balance, work and family, not balance, but kind of make it fit together. And if you like to have fun, I hire finance people. That find the fun thing filters a whole lot out. So if you don't consider yourself fun, if you would say I'm serious, then we're not for you. And when I do a first 15-minute interview, I say, here's your core values. And they're all like, oh, those are great. And I'm like, well, let me tell you the people who don't enjoy working with us, right? Loners don't do well with us. Workaholics, we drive them crazy. Like we're like, okay, enough. And it's interesting because they self-select out.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to lead with that. I think you got to make sure that look, everybody knows the statistics on what turnover costs you.
Do they?
It's a multiple of their salary. It's a multiple of their salary, particularly if you're using headhunters. My goodness. The other thing we've done, and this has been really profound because the base skill set for what we do, CFOing, financial analysts, is pretty easy to come by. But we had tremendous turnover until we figured out the behavioral profile for each of the roles. And when we did that, we hired so much better because we fall in love easily, right? We're like, oh, they would be great. They are so margarita worthy, right? But what we realize is they can't switch between clients like we do. That just drives them crazy. And so when we had that, not technical knowledge, right? The behaviors, right? How do they behave in their DNA? And you're never going to find somebody who matches up 100%, but you know what you have to coach to.
And in that sense, it's like what you're saying is, can you constantly shift? Mm-hmm. Or are you the type of person who needs the same thing over and over? Mm-hmm. And so now you're smart enough to ask that question. That makes sense. Do you use any kind of personality tests or anything to help with this?
We run it through, I forget what the branded name is, but it's DISC with some other stuff added on to it. We've done the culture index. I like that one. Each of them have their unique spin on things. And the founder of our firm and I score almost identically on almost all of them, with the exception of, I think it was culture index. And I'm like, yeah, we look really different with that one.
It's funny because my best business partner was one that didn't match up at all on the DISC profile. We were complete opposites.
That probably works better. Less drama.
It worked better. It wasn't just less drama. It was the things I hate, he loved, and the things he hated, I loved.
It's efficient.
And so we could stay in our lanes. Mm-hmm. And when we could agree on something, it was good because we came at it from different angles. Mm-hmm. And so it all came together and it worked together.
Yeah, I've been told that when you have more like-minded people, you have more drama.
Well, because they all have their own similar idea and similar way of doing it. Mm-hmm. And so it creates that kind of drama. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Anything else on how we get the right people in the right seats so we make more profit?
I think that it also requires a couple of things. One, I think you need to know the seat, right? I went through, there's 15 hidden rules about the different classes of people. And if the role requires a set of skills that that person innately doesn't have, they'll never be happy and you'll never get the results. And it doesn't mean either one is bad, right? But if you're trying to go and sell high-end stuff to people and you have, strong Midwestern middle class values, you're not going to dress the part, you're not going to talk the part, and you're not going to convert. And so it's understanding what the role is and what kind of decisions they have to take, because everybody has a different decision-making style, right? Are you intuitive? Every entrepreneur is intuitive, right? Are you analytical or are you collaborative? You need to know that, and don't try to change that person, but put them in a role where they thrive. And so it's not just about the right people. I think it's also about knowing the seat, and do they get it?
In.
Do they want it? Do they have the capacity?
And that comes straight out of EOS.
Mm-hmm.
And that is correct. That's an easy way to evaluate them and to answer those questions and to see and let them evaluate themselves too and see if that's the case. I think too often we stick people where we need them,
mm-hmm.
and then that creates more issues, and then they're not happy, we're not happy. And
I think the other thing that I really like, again, in EOS concept is the quarterly conversations. Everybody does these annual reviews. People need to know where they stand. Well, I think they need to know where they stand more often than that. And they, what's working, what's not working, making it not all about work, but personal too. I think that frequent conversations throughout the year is really important.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a surprise.
Right.
Either way, right? Because if they think they're up here and you don't think they're up there, or, if they think they're down here and you think they're up
mm-hmm.
there, either way. But you should be checking in and making sure that everyone's kind of rowing the same direction, and that everybody's
and sometimes that
on board.
Changes, right? You have different seasons of your life, and you just have to keep that dialogue going.
You do. These aren't the easy conversations. This is why I do what I do, because my spreadsheets behave. I tell people, the people stuff, you got to go find a people person to deal with that.
You're not wrong.
And that's why I stay in my seat, knowing my way. And
mm-hmm.
It took me a long time to figure that out, though. But now I kind of know it, and it works well.
Another thing that we've done, and I don't know if other companies do this, but we've also done what do you call that? Not an organizational checkup, an assessment, like an employee survey.
Yes.
We use the Bite 7. So it's just 7 questions. And, do you belong? Are you being held accountable? Blah, 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 blah. And that kind of employee engagement survey, I think they're called, is another way to find where you might have hidden inefficiencies. The quiet quitters, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so it's having conversations, scheduling conversations, doing these types of things. And too often it's, I'll do it tomorrow. And
mm-hmm.
tomorrow, of course, never comes. So that's the issue. And again, it really comes down to when I go look at the P&L, I'm like, something's wrong. And I don't see the line item, but I know there's a problem.
Yes. And if you ever find yourself surprised by people, it's probably an issue you haven't addressed. Right? I don't believe in chasing people. Once somebody's decided they want to leave, let them leave.
And the same thing when people come to you and ask for a massive raise to stay.
I love that conversation. Can we have that conversation?
Sure.
Okay. I want to make X. Oh, okay. You want to make X. Our first response is, well, at your age, I never made X. Well, I'd like to make X too, right? That's crazy. All those things running is our head trash. What I like is, okay, let's figure out a way that you can make X. I'm not going to give it to you, but I will provide you with a path to make what you want to make. That could be, the path is you need to get this next promotion, and here's where you're not adequate. The path could be you need to work or you need to sell more. What's the barrier to that? If people engaged with people and said, okay, fine, I absolutely support your desires. Let's figure out how we can get that done for you. But in no uncertain terms, I'm not giving it to you. Mm-hmm. You're going to earn it, and you're going to be really proud when you succeed.
Well, and I think it's also part of the conversation. I'm hearing lots of stories of people jump from one place to go to another. And they're like, yeah, they pay a couple bucks more, a little dollars more than we do. And I'm like, but they just went to the devil. And what I mean by that is, in your company, they have to do something. Maybe they see 10 clients a day, or, their throughput rate on a whatever. In that company, they're expecting twice as much of you. And so you're working twice as hard for 20% more. That wasn't, or the benefits package, or the bonus plan, or the culture that is in that place. And so again, the people have to want.
Well, now you're going to make me point to Biggie Smalls over here. More money, more problems.
Yeah. Well, hey, there's always the case, right? And so people have to be aware of that and to be able to do that. And sometimes there are companies, depending on what's going on, they're overpaying because of a problem within their company or something that they need to deal with. And so you need to be aware
they're compensating.
Because they can't find people, because so forth. So yeah, all of that, most important. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If people would like to learn more about your firm, how do they find out about you?
Yeah, so you can email me at Pam@CathCap, CathCap.com. You can visit our website, CathCap.com. You can book a call. I'd love to talk. We're working with a lot of fun people now, and I'm sure you have a lot of fun listeners that we would enjoy working with.
And we'll put that in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening today. You've heard how the wrong people in the wrong seats quietly destroy profit, and why getting core values, competency, and accountability right is the fastest path to a healthier bottom line. I hope you had an aha moment. Take a few minutes to look at your own team through those 4 quadrants: stars, puppies, rats, and gremlins, or as I like to call them, terrorists, and be honest about where the changes need to be made, and then do it. If you want more insights into how to find and keep the right people and to build that culture, check out episode 141 with Emily Cole, the co-founder of the Savannah Bananas, and hear how they built a culture that attracts top talent and keeps them engaged when they had no money to begin with. Let's face it, if you need help, reach out to Pam, reach out to me. There's links in the show notes to how to do this all. We want you to be profitable. Let's make that happen. Because at the end of the day, you don't need more resources. You need to be more resourceful. And we always focus on the bottom line. Thanks for listening to The Profit Answer Man, where we believe more revenue doesn't mean more profit, and the bottom line is what really matters. If you're ready to stop living check to check, take control of your cash flow, and finally get paid what you're worth, we should talk. We work with 7- and 8-figure businesses and well-funded startups. If you're a smaller business, check out the Profit Blueprint program. It's a do-it-yourself solution that also can come with my direct guidance in the same level we give our one-on-one clients. When you're ready for results, book a discovery call. There's a link in the show notes or at profitcomesfirst.com. You'll be speaking and working directly with me. In the meantime, grab your free copy of the Profit Blueprint at ProfitComesFirst.com. It's the next step to turning your business into a consistent cash flow generating machine. If you'd like to dig more into leading yourself, your company, and building the ultimate life, listen to my other podcast, Richer Soul, where we cover these topics in great depth. There's a link in the show notes. As we close out, let's repeat the mantra. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king. Have an abundant and profitable week.